What's going on, guys? Super Savage 789 here, bringing you guys a video, and today we're doing What If the Strawhats Never Separated. This will be the first One Piece What If on the channel, as I've been really getting into it as of late. So please, let me know if there's anything wrong with it in the comment section down below. I really would appreciate some feedback. And as always, make sure you like, it really does help the channel. Now, onto the video. In this timeline, when Kuma goes to teleport Zoro, Luffy manages to use Gear 2 momentarily, and grab the swordsman. He then launches out of the way entirely, meaning Zoro still remains. Even though this has happened, they're all exhausted and need to flee still. Plus with Chopper berserking in his monster form, they'll all be screwed. Luffy shouts for everyone to flee, which everyone would feel much better doing now that Zoro hasn't been teleported away. Kuma would probably try to rush the Straw Hats and teleport them away, however I feel like they'd manage to be able to escape. Frankie grabs Robin and Nami and uses the remaining cola for a coup d'event, launching himself flying with the two kills. I'm sure Luffy could grab Sanji and Zoro while Brook grabs Usopp, and they all begin to run. With Chopper in a monster form, they don't know how to help him, but luckily enough, Rayleigh can help. He uses his Conqueror Haki and knocks out the reindeer, making Chopper revert to normal, which Brook catches. Everyone would regroup on the ship and make sure to instantly coup de burst out into sea, having to scrap the idea of getting the coating to go to Fishman Island. They're all extremely lucky to be alive, especially with the wounds they've sustained already. When Chopper comes to, he would see to everyone's wounds. They'll decide to dock at a nearby base so Chopper can get some resources. People with lighter injuries like Nami and Robin are allowed to head out, and Brook and Frankie go with Chopper to help him carry stuff back. Nami actually goes around looking for clothes, and Chopper decides to go looking for medical supplies, but Frankie and Brook would help him do that. Robin would be crucial here though. She'd end up getting a drink and reads the paper, and what she sees shocks her. She rushes back to the ship and shows what she found to Luffy, Sanji, Usopp and Zoro about Ace's execution. Frankie, Brook, Chopper and Nami all return around the same time and are informed about the situation. They then see Luffy sat atop the mast and decide to discuss what they should do. Zoro states that they should simply break in and save him, but Robin shuts down that notion. He's most likely in Impel Down. There won't be a way for him to be freed with a mere prison break. It'd be suicide to do so. While the Straw Hats discuss what they should do, Luffy jumps down and tells them that he's going. He's told about the dangers, and he doesn't care. Ace is his brother. Anyone who doesn't want to help are more than welcome to wait back at Sabaody Archipelago for them. Naturally, everyone agrees to help, and they all discuss a plan. The plan would be for the Straw Hats to break into two groups. The group breaking into Impel Down is Luffy, Robin, Nami, and Brook. Luffy is pretty self-explanatory about why he's going. Robin is good at sneaking around and being an assassin. She is built for this type of mission. Nami can be pretty useful at stealing things like keys and weapons, so her going would also be extremely vital. And Brook has some great camouflage, as he can merely pretend to be a pile of bones on the ground and get people to walk past him while he's unnoticed. The other team is filled with people who will be useful on the outside. They're meant to cause a distraction and hold out long enough for the other group to get Ace and make an escape. Frankie would also be there to open up the gate so they can get away. Using the Going Merry version 2, they send Brook slumped over with a bunch of barrels that they have crudely painted treasure on towards the Marines. Seeing the treasure, 4 Marines decide to go down and investigate. What they don't see is Robin, Nami and Luffy hold onto the side of the ship with Robin's hands. When they get close enough, Robin uses a cease fleur and knocks out the soldiers. The 4 Straw Hats then place on the Marines' outfits and climb back onto the ship. Momonga approaches, asking what happened, and Robin says there was nothing. He's very suspicious when seeing them all hiding under their hat and asks him to look at them. At that moment, they hear a huge explosion as the rest of the Straw Hats begin to blow up a bunch of holes in the walls. All the Marines' attention drifts over to there, giving the Straw Hats the chance. Luffy uses a Gummo Gummo Gatling gun and knocks out everyone on the ship, tying them up and placing them all in barrels. The Straw Hats then approach Impel Down. They decide to lay low for a couple minutes as more and more of the guards begin to go to the front lines to fight with the Straw Hats. Using Robin's hand wings for aerodynamics and Luffy's stretchy limbs, they all land towards the back of Impel Down. They then manage to sneak inside where they split up. Robin and Nami go off to get the keys to the cell, as well as to figure out where to get an escape ship. As for Luffy and Brook, they'd go off to go and free Ace. From here, the Luffy portion of things would play out very similar to canon, however Brook is there to help out. Luffy and Brook would run into Buggy where their disguise is broken and then begin to flee. They make it through the Blood Forest and to the second level. Meanwhile, Magellan would begin trying to get everything in order. With the majority of the Straw Hat forces on the outside, he tells Hannibal, don't know if I'm saying that right, to pay them a visit, as he'll see to the 2 Straw Hats currently inside the base. As for Sadie, she begins to look around and make sure no one else is broken out. With order set, they all go to do that. Honeyapple manages to leap through the air and swims very quickly towards the Straw Hats. Usopp being the best shot, he is told to shoot the guy approaching. Using a tobacco star, he lands a direct hit and gets cocky about it until he sees the guy leap out of the water. He almost stabs Usopp in the head, but luckily enough, Zoro blocks the attack. Franky's forced to go into the rooms to prepare his weapon to open the gates, and Usopp climbs onto the mast to hold off the other soldiers joining. It means the fight will be Chopper, Sanji, and Zoro versus Honeyapple. As the battle rages on, both Robin and Nami manage to locate where the keys are. After taking out some guards and learning the location of Ace, Robin and Nami begin to move to help. That's when they run into Sadie and the 4 jailer beasts, all with her. This worries them, so they decide to outsmart them. Nami ends up shouting for them stood in front of a cell. One of the beasts immediately rushes at her, but falls through the mirage into the sea stone cage. Robin then manages to shut the gate with her hand. A bunch of Nami mirages all stand in front of different cells, holding keys, taunting the opponents. The 3 remaining beasts all rush at the mirages, but the same thing occurs to all of them. Sadie begins looking around for the culprits and turns around to see Nami. She smiles and points upwards, which she does, seeing the lightning cloud forming over her head. She tries to flee, but Robin uses a Quattro Flare to hold her down, making her take the full force of the lightning and being knocked out. Then Robin and Nami rush off. Back on the Thousand Sunny, the 3 Straw Hats trying to fight are struggling immensely. The strip is beginning to be broken apart, and with Chopper's time limit coming to a close, everyone will be getting screwed if the fight doesn't conclude soon. Getting an idea, Sanji and Zoro both use their strongest attacks to push the guy off the ship. They tell Chopper, Usopp, and Franky to get away, and they'll contact them, and with no time to argue, they are forced to do so. With all the people they need to fight, as well as the disadvantage they placed at, Sanji and Zoro are forced to surrender themselves and taken into custody. It isn't ideal, but they'll find a way. Over Luffy and Brook, they'd end up getting through level 3 very quickly due to the absence of the Minotaurus. They still end up running into Bon Clay and make it to level 4, where Magellan ends up catching up to them into a fight. Luffy rushes at him while Brook is hidden away alongside Bon Clay by Robin and Nami, who also have Mr. 3 and Buggy captive. Luffy gets poisoned and Magellan leaves to go deal with everyone else. They then take Luffy to Ivankov and get him healed like in canon. While Luffy heals up, Robin would end up sneaking around the prison and figures out where Zoro and Sanji are being held. Sanji uses his flaming kick to break the cuffs, and after Robin demands him to, he frees Zoro. They then go to where Luffy is, as Robin grabs a Denden Mushi and Zoro's swords, returning to where the Straw Hats are. They try and get in contact with Usopp, Chopper, and Franky, but are unsuccessful. We could get some comedic scenes with Sanji and the Okama, as well as Zoro and Nami seeing Buggy and Mr. Free again. Luffy would awaken, and everyone rushes to level 6. They find out Ace isn't there, and would break out Jinbei like normal. When Crocodile offers to help, Sanji and Nami would verbally make it clear they can't do it. Zoro would side with whatever Luffy chooses to do, with him ultimately asking Robin what she wants to do. She tells Luffy that normally she'd say no, but for his brother, she'll allow it. So Crocodile joins the team. They would encounter Sadie and her beast, as well as a Honeyapple, where they're all quickly taken care of. Blackbeard rocks up, and after a short scuffle, Magellan just demolishes them using his poison. The Straw Hats, as well as the prisoners, would then escape, with it being very similar to canon. It ultimately leads to Bon Clay being captured and assumed dead by everyone else. The Straw Hats would all begin to move where Ace's execution is set to happen. Robin keeps trying with the Denden Mushi, but still has no luck contacting the Thousand Sunny. The initial parts of Marineford go like normal, all the way until the Straw Hats and Impel Down crew get into battle. Luffy just launches into battle like he does normally, with Zoro, Sanji, and Brook not far behind. Meanwhile, Nami and Robin hang back, as getting up close for them puts them at a significant disadvantage. Notable fights that happen during this. Brook vs Tashigi would be interesting, but he'd more than likely act like a perv. It would really annoy her. Nami vs Smoker might be cool, since someone needs to save Luffy from him without Hancock doing so. Her using the temperature to ultimately slow Smoker and get a good hit on him would be interesting to watch. Zoro would reunite with Mihawk and would attack with purpose, to defend Luffy. Mihawk tells Zoro that his skills have shot up drastically since last time. Alas, he is still outmatched, and Zoro gets his eye cut out. Before Mihawk kills him, a shout of Ultimate Franky Cannon can be heard, as a massive blast pushes Mihawk away. Usopp, Franky, and Chopper arrive in the Going Merry too, having come to help. Having Chopper going to his monster form in the middle of the battlefield would be pretty cool to see. He'd probably counter Hancock, since you can't really do anything to him. And having Sanji using his Diable that flaming kick on Akainu would be cool. Also, having Robin meet up with Aokiji would be cool to see, but she'd more than likely not fight him. Usopp fires a tobacco star at Ace, apologizing for the pain he'll be in. Kizaru reacts to it and jumps in front of Ace, but the explosion manages to free him still. His freedom makes everyone ecstatic as Usopp is praised for saving him. Ace being free much earlier would drastically alter how the rest of this goes. Since Akainu isn't close to Ace and can't get off guarded, Ace isn't immediately killed, but instead rushing into battle. Having him in battle against the Marines would be fun to watch, especially with Luffy teaming up with him. Also, having a fair fight with Akainu could be a cool sight to watch. Blackbeard would still show up, leading to Whitebeard's death and him then taking his devil fruit power. Watching him die breaks Ace, and so he unleashes a massive inferno onto the field, hurting lots of Marines in the process. Eventually, Shanks shows up and stops all the fighting. Seeing Shanks would excite Luffy, and he says that he wants to go and see him. Then he realizes he can't yet. Trafalgar Law arrives and gives the Straw Hats a ride, where they head to Seperated. That's where the Thousand Sunny is resting currently. Rayleigh tells the Straw Hats about Haki, and that he'd like to take Luffy to train to awaken his Conqueror Haki. The Straw Hats won't leave each other, and so they all decide to go and train with each other for 2 years and learn about Haki. We'll discuss the strength of everyone before we end the video. I'll make it clear now though that everyone possesses both Observation Haki and Armament Haki. Luffy is the closest to his canon himself at this time, except he is much stronger. He'd be close to achieving Gear 4, however he isn't quite there yet. His skills are all honed out much more than they were in canon though. Zoro would be slightly weaker than he was. He'd have Haki just like he did, but his sword skills would take a significant downgrade due to not training with Mihawk. Him training with the others would definitely help refine them, but definitely not to where they were. Nami is actually weaker this time around. Having not gone to Weather Area means her skills are extremely stunted in that regard, and barely, if at all, improve. The use of Armament Haki would mean she's a better close-range fighter, but she'd still be weaker by a significant amount, and definitely the weakest out of the Straw Hats. Usopp will be about relative to his canon self. Having Armament Haki would mean what he shoots at people hurts a lot more. His use of Observation Haki also means he's a much better shot. I'd say Usopp would even use the impact dial, since he can reinforce his arm to a point where he can tank most of, if not all the damage when outputting it, meaning that dials remain relevant in the time skip. Sanji would benefit from this since his training instead of just running helps a lot. His cooking skills would take a downgrade though, but it's a small price to pay. I could even see Sanji learning his pseudo version of Soru if he saw how Marines used it at Marineford. Chopper's medical skills are much worse, but other than that, his amp is pretty good. He'd be able to master his forms, including the monster form, but adding Armament Haki to them makes them even more stronger. Robin would get the best amp from all of this. Having a bunch of arms that can all use Haki would be quite deadly, and being able to sense people makes her sneaking skills much better. Frankie would be much weaker since he wouldn't have Vegapunk's upgrades. He'd also not look any different after a time skip, which is for the best in all honesty. The ship would definitely be much more upgraded though, so that's a plus. Finally we get to Brook. Having Haki does help him, though they don't really do any help with what he's got. So while it's helpful in some cases, he's not really going to bank on it. And that's going to be here. Make sure you like and subscribe and comment below. Subscribe in the next episode. If you liked it, again, make sure you like. It really does help out. And let me know if you want more One Piece on the channel. Please tell me if I did pronounce anything wrong or if I did have any logic fallacies. And so yeah, bye!